Correction to the previous video in this series, YouTuber Izizzy. This YouTuber is actually from New Zealand and not Scottish. Please forgive my ignorant American ears. Anyway, onward to the next tier in the dark, weird, and controversial artist Iceberg. And one more thing, apparently somebody brought to my attention that during the Hieronymus Bosch entry, I actually use AI-generated images of his work. So I was just going through grabbing some of his paintings, and I saw these, and I thought they looked kind of cool, and, you know, just for that segment, and I didn't realize that they were AI-generated. Goes once again that 9 times out of 10, AI art looks really bad, but that 10th time, they'll get you. And apparently this was the 10th time. So I'm going to double check images going forward when I grab artworks to show you. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. Cancerous Commentary Art Channels. Cancerous Commentary Art Channels is an iceberg of its own worthy entry on this list. This one's a doozy. Okay. So a good parallel to the art commentary community is the beauty community. A whole bunch of petty bullshit and toxic behavior over the most minuscule of things. The only difference is that due to the creepshow art fallout, the art commentary community has faded away more or less. Believe it or not, this community actually practically has nothing to say about art. Funny that, yeah? Anyway, the main focus of art commentary channels are similar to the standard commentary YouTubers. The key difference is that while standard commentary YouTubers will use gameplay footage, art commentary YouTubers will use art time-lapse footage. While the majority of art commentary YouTubers talk about anything but art, there are a few exceptions that actually do talk about art. Duchess Celestia comes to mind, as well as Trent Kanayuga. I've even dipped my toes in the genre as well, myself. Most art commentary YouTubers, however, just talk shit about stuff that happened on Twitter. Or X, if you're a weirdo. It's mostly died down and the genre isn't as popular as it used to be, particularly due to the creepshow art fallout, which I talked about in the previous tier. But there are a handful of creators still making videos in this style. Certain events and creators such as Tobi and the Hopeless Peaches harassment campaign have their own entry. This one's more of a general overview because if I included every little petty beef that happened in this toxic community, I'd be here all day. There's a video by YouTuber Cecil McFly documenting the entire disaster that was the YouTube art commentary community's rise and fall that is super in-depth. It's literally 4.5 hours long, but I'd recommend it if you want all of the details. Tobi, or Tobi Majestic, was an art commentary YouTuber. Her first hit was a video called The Faults of Creepshow Art, wherein she called creepshow art out on her bullshit. This video precedes the massive expose and downfall of creepshow art, which I've already covered. I know. Don't worry, you'll only be hearing about creepshow one more time in this iceberg. So due to her video being well received by the majority of viewers and even creepshow herself, albeit more than likely deceptively knowing her toxic history, Tobi was the new face of art commentary on YouTube. But this iceberg doesn't have dark and controversial in the title for nothing. So one thing to note is that Tobi suffers from borderline personality disorder, or BPD, which more than likely influenced this ordeal, but that's honestly besides the point. Please reference back to the previous tier for what I said about people who suffer from mental illnesses in the art community. Anyway, she made a rant video that, not gonna lie, was pretty based at first.
Such dumb bullshit. I'm sorry, I can't. I have things that are severely more important than this dumb bullshit. First, I'm blocking several drama channels, well, every drama channel, and several commentary channels because I've had it. Sick and tired of commentary channels and drama channels that severely hyper-criticize and pick apart every single little thing that somebody does online.
But she pivoted and started defending people that the art commentary community didn't like, and honestly, she didn't articulate herself all that well. There was some blatant hypocrisy to it, though. She hated those drama/commentary channels while being one herself. Then the story gets messy. A thread for her appeared on one of those lolcow sites like Kiwi Farms Encyclopedia Dramatica or whatever. Who cares? Whatever. I'm pretty sure that it was started by Creepshow Art herself because, of course. So her downfall began when she started talking about lolicon/shotacon artwork, which will have an entry in a much later tier, while she was beefing with a creator called Ben the Looney, who will also have an entry in a much later tier. In short, just a brief summary of what that kind of artwork is, well, let's just say Joe Biden probably has an extensive collection of it and leave it at that. So, Tobi made a video called It's Still Wrong If It's Drawn, where she was talking about how awful that genre of artwork is, and, well, pot calling the kettle black, as it turned out she had some kind of alt account where she drew lewd drawings of Sailor Moon and Todoroki from My Worst Fandom on the Internet Academia, both of whom were canonically minors. And one thing led to another, and boom, big cancel party. Whatever. Art commentary YouTuber drama bullshit. The usual. This one is of significant note, however, since it's the first story arc in the Creepshow art saga. To be honest, I can't help but feel a little bad for her, BPD and all that, and being one of Creepshow's victims, but at the same time, hypocrisy much? Oh yeah, and apparently she was a Fujoshi too, and people were angry about that. Honestly, whatever. I feel like most normal people would understand the concept of a heterosexual liking the opposite sex.
Why are straight guys so obsessed with lesbians?
Wow, this chocolate bar sure is good. But you know what would make it better? Wow, another chocolate bar! 2 of a thing I like, together!
But the art commentary community is filled to the brim with hard leftists that are obsessed with sexuality and gay stuff. Once again, that's just a whatever for me. I don't really care. But it might have had an impact on this whole Tobi Majestic story arc. Anyway, if you want a more in-depth look at this whole situation, I once again recommend that same video by Cecil McFly. All supplemental videos will be linked in the description. The bullying of hopeless peaches. Okay, I'm actually gonna just gloss over this one because this YouTuber is still active and might actually come across this video, and once again, like I said in the Creepshow entry, I prefer not to bring up another person's personal trauma. In short, Hopeless Peaches is a commentary YouTuber, one of those art commentary YouTubers, and one of Creepshow's victims. To be honest, I'm not really entirely sure where this harassment campaign against her stemmed from, but basically, to what I recall, she did a collaboration with another artist and didn't give credit or something. Then all the art commentary YouTubers started dogpiling on her over the most minuscule of things, even some of whom were coaxing her into committing self-deletion. Sorry for using that phrase again, but, YouTube. It was at this time art commentary YouTubers were popping up like tumors and everyone wanted a piece of the Peaches harassment campaign. To my recollection, I think Creepshow made 3 to 5 videos on her alone. Not to mention all the new channels popping up thinking, oh, talk shit, get paid. Like, man, people really went after her hard. Eventually people realized, hey, we're kind of being dicks. When she left the internet for quite a long time, and she came back eventually and everyone forgot about what the drama was even about. And luckily Creepshow was gone at this point. Once again, I refer to the art commentary YouTuber's video by Cecil McFly. This one was quite messy, but I'm glad Peaches seems to be doing better these days. Hey guys, Editor John here. So, I was just going about my business and working on this video, got to this segment and went to grab some images and footage for this part when I found out Peaches got herself riled up in some other controversy and, well, new accusations about her have come to light. To be honest, I'm not going to look too much into it, but it seems Peaches might not be so peachy. Honestly, every video I see covering this is 1,000,000 hours long, so from the surface level, it just seems like she falsely accused someone of something or other. To be honest, I'm not that surprised, even having said what I said a minute ago. It is the art commentary community after all. Well, despite Creepshow leaving, the art commentary community is still a cancerous shithole full of toxic, backstabbing lunatics, and I'm done talking about them. Forever. Alright? Just walking away from that one. ARGs/analog horror. ARGs and analog horror are technically 2 different things, but often appear together. An ARG, or alternate reality game, is actually a marketing gimmick, but transformed into an art form all its own. ARGs were designed to be puzzles that take place on and offline, usually to promote a product, but over time became a tool to tell a story. For a marketing example, you can look at Halo 2's Save the Bees campaign. And for a storytelling example, there was, of course, the infamously popular Meat Sleep channel, and Alan Tutorial's a pretty good one.
And he's got, you make a list of his powers. Powers. Oops, you're supposed to have 1 S. He's got a gun. G is that part.
ARGs, when done well, are some very masterfully crafted and beautiful works of storytelling. However, some are straight poo-poo, to say the least. ARGs rose to popularity in the mid-2010s and are still popular to this day. Analog horror, in my opinion, is somewhat of an offshoot of ARGs. Analog horror refers to another visual storytelling medium in which the creator will use stuff like found footage and emergency bulletins to tell a story. The most famous analog horror is, of course, Local 58. Personally, I prefer ARGs, but I like it the most when the two styles are mixed. For further information, just watch any horror YouTuber ever. Cursed paintings. This entry refers to paintings that are associated with some kind of supernatural or paranormal phenomenon. Over the years, there have been some documented cases of paintings potentially being tainted with bad voodoo. One infamous example is a painting called The Crying Boy, which was in 3 house fires and never burned. After some investigation, people realized that it was coated in some kind of flame-retardant material. There's also this recreation of a photo of a wagon that allegedly caught a ghost and the polar bears that make students fail tests. One of my favorites in terms of artwork is The Anguished Man, but this one isn't actually cursed and is part of an ARG. I just think it's a sick painting, bro. There's also The Hands Resist Him, which was labeled as cursed, so an eBay seller could make big bucks. The artist of this painting liked the lore created around his painting so much he even made a sequel. Pretty spooky stuff. For the most part, most of these cursed paintings are more than likely not cursed, but you never know. Anyway, leave a comment down below if you would like me to make a cursed painting tier list, going over the actual artwork and not the lore around them. Alright, moving along. Art heists. Art heists refer to times when museum-level pieces of artwork have been stolen in heists. There are black markets for this stuff. Here's a few cases for you. During 2020, during the pandemic lockdowns, the Parsonage Garden at Nieuwennen in Spring by Vincent van Gogh was stolen from the Singer-Laren Museum in the Netherlands. Allegedly, the thieves smashed through the glass and drove off with the painting on a motorcycle. Now that's some Ocean's 11 ass shit right there. Anyway, the painting was anonymously returned in an IKEA bag in 2023. Canada had their biggest art heist in 1972. This event is known as the 1972 Montreal Museum of Fine Arts robbery. The paintings the thieves made off with were as follows. Bear with me because some of these titles are in French and I don't speak French. So I'll do my best. Landscape with vehicle and cattle attributed at the time to Jean Bruegel the Elder, but later reattributed to his students. Alright. Subsequently recovered. Apparently they did find that one. Landscape with Buildings and Wagon by Jan Bruegel the Elder, once again. Alright, here we go. Here's the French. La Veilleuse à la Fontaine. The Dreaming Woman in the Fountain by Jean-Baptiste Camille Corot. Jeune fille accoudée sur le bras gauche. Young girl learning on her left arm. I am so sorry to my French viewers. Once again by Corot, or Corot, whatever, however you say that. Landscape with Rocks and Steam by Gustave Courbet. Head by Honoré Daumier. Lioness and Lion in the Cave by Eugène Delacroix. The Sorceress by Narcisse Virgilio Diaz. Portrait of Brigadier General Sir Thomas Fletcher by Thomas Gainsborough. There we go. There's a white name for this white boy. Still Life Vanitas by Jean-David Stehim. Still Life with a Fish, also by Dehim. Laboratrice. Young Woman Churning by Jean-Francois Millet. Portrait of Madame Millet by Millet. Portrait of a Man, possibly a self-portrait by Giovanni Battista Piazzetta. Landscape with Cottages by Rembrandt van Rijn. Head of a Young Man by Peter Paul Rubens. Portrait of a Lady by Francois-André Vincent. And a Portrait of a Man by the same artist. Apparently there were 3 perpetrators, and to this day they have never been found. Apparently, based on my research, they came in through the skylight and bound and gagged the guards at 2 a.m. It's freaking wild, man. Alright, one more before moving on. There was a sculptor named Henry Moore based in England. He made some weird stuff. But in 2005, one of his sculptures was stolen. This sculpture was appraised at $18 million and weighed 2 tons. Somehow, thieves took the 2-ton statue and it just disappeared. Most likely melted down for scrap. It may have been appraised for $18 million, but in scrap, it was just around $1,600. Ironic. Anyway, art heists, once again, are another entry that could have an iceberg all its own. Moving on. Tumblr. Tumblr refers to the website of the same name. Tumblr is a social networking and microblogging website similar to Twitter or X that was founded in 2007. The website was at first known for its hard-left social justice warrior post. All that gender stuff that I really don't care about. You know, you do you, boo-boo. But it was particularly popular among artists, particularly not safe for work type artists. It was pretty well known for its adult content. In 2018, it started applying stricter policies to its adult content and lost around 30% of its user base, most of whom migrated to, at the time, Twitter. Tumblr eased up restrictions in 2022 on adult content, but the damage was done. This website is just a minor blip in places where spicy artists got to share their work, but it eventually altered into something else and no one can see those artists' works anymore. The site is still up, but I personally don't recommend it. If you are an NSFW artist, Twitter or X and Newgrounds would probably be a better venue in my opinion. JoCat's Cancellation. JoCat was an animator and probably the gayest straight man alive. No, I'm sorry, that's part of the story. It really is. So on a stream, he said he liked girls, sang a little song, and moved on with his life. He then took the clip and made a little animation to it. Most normal people were like, whatever, but other people saw it and it made people so fucking angry. Like, so mad. And I'm not sure who, to be honest. I think most of the hate campaign was coming from the right-wing side of the internet, who were all like, you show your fancy girls, mate, oi? You got a license for heterosexuality, eh? Why are they British? Why aren't you British? Or it could have been LGBT viewers that felt betrayed by JoCat being heterosexual. His art style was very Steven Universe looking, and in my opinion, I often see that style associated with the LGBT community. I know you do too. Was it people who were just angered that someone would change the lyrics to a Lizzo song? Could be. I think it was a Lizzo song. I don't really care. Was it just trolls? Maybe. Basically, the harassment drove him off the internet, and to my knowledge, he hasn't returned since. However, I should note one detail. Hogwarts Legacy was a game. It was based off of books by J.K. Rowling. Trans people don't like J.K. Rowling. JoCat was one of the allies that was going apeshit with the threats, among other things, during the Wizard Game Bad era of Twitter. So, kind of funny how the tables turn. I'd also like to ask, how does playing a video game equate to literally ending another person's life? Whatever, I didn't buy it, not because of the controversy, but because it was a shitty Western game. JoCat just kind of disappeared. Despite everything, I hope he's doing okay, honestly. By the way, no one is ever truly cancelled. You're only cancelled if you let them cancel you. Anyway, on to the next entry. Instagram cancer. Oh boy. This is an extensive one. Here we go. Have you ever posted your art on Instagram? Sure you have. We all have. And we all have seen the DM for promo bots. It's an absurdly bad problem with Instagram. So much so that I personally banned the words promo and DM from my comments section there. And Zuck the fuck still hasn't done shit about it. There was also an uprising in AI artists during the initial AI art boom that are still posting shit content. I've seen some of them pop up on my suggested section, and I've even recognized the art that was bastardized in some of these recreations. I once saw one make an ugly edit of a panel of Kentaro Miura's Berserk where the AI artist literally deflated Morta's breasts, which is a crime against humanity in my opinion. But AI trash isn't the only problem. Show of hands. How many of you had someone DM you, bro, we can make their NFTs and make big crypto bucks her der. Oh, all of you? Yeah. I'm assuming some of these are bots, but crypto NFT AI bros all sound so much alike one another they might as well be. Then there's reposters. Getting your art reposted to another account with more followers and getting tagged used to be a nice way to grow your Instagram. Now it's not, but we'll get to that. Reposters used to ask for permission before posting stuff and credit others. Now there are just accounts that grab other artists' work and post them without credit. Sometimes they'll snarkily remark, credit the artist if you know who it is, like, bitch, it's the fucking person you stole it from. Anyway, Instagram is in a steep decline ever since they introduced Reels and shifted the platform from being image-based to a TikTok clone, and posting Reels is the only way to get engagement, if that. The only way I know for sure to grow on Instagram is one of two methods. One, buy ads, and you gotta actually spend a lot if you actually want to get seen. Or two, get big on a different platform. The algorithms that Instagram operates under have been so fucked that I honestly wouldn't recommend Instagram for artists. Or anyone for that matter. Most of the content's trash anyway. Not to mention the Twitter clone threads that they pushed out that might as well just be Twitter before Elon bought it, as it's filled to the brim with one-sided political arguments. Twitter may be a cancer, but at least it's a cancer coming from two sides. I love reading a good old-fashioned Twitter fight, but Threads is awful. Anyway, Instagram is cannibalizing itself by not removing the cornucopia of bots, and it's actually unbelievable how bad the app has become. Moving on. Shadman/Shadbase. We gotta talk about Shadman. I don't want to talk about Shadman. Alright, okay. So, Shadman, or Shadbase, was an extremely controversial artist who gained quite a bit of popularity during the anti-SJW era of online content. You know, the Ben Shapiro owning feminists compilation days. Good old days. Shadman, not to be confused with Jazz's brother Shad, liked to draw. What did he like to draw? Take a wild guess. What's that, portraits? Nah. Landscapes? Wishful thinking. Huh? Pornography? Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, he was a porn artist, but it gets worse. Most artists don't really give a shit if you draw NSFW art. Hell, I follow quite a few NSFW artists quite closely because of how good they are. But there's one offshoot of illustrated pornography that makes my stomach churn, and that is, of course, Lolicon. I actually already gave my thoughts about this in my localizers video, but to reiterate most normal people's stances, yeah, I understand that it's just a drawing, but also like, what the fuck? You know? Anyway, you may be thinking that he only drew fictional characters that didn't exist, which, by the way, we'll be talking in depth about people who care about the ages of fictional characters when we get to the Genshin Impact community entry. Shadman took it upon himself to draw disgusting images of real-world minors. Yeah, he did. Technically, not a crime, but definitely something gross and disgusting and depraved. There were once many people that supported him, you know, that were like all for the free speech and freedom of expression angle, but they became detractors after this incident. Some people, like the aforementioned Ben the Looney, who's getting his own entry, stood by him during this time. So you would think after doing it once and, you know, the massive backlash and, you know, all these people becoming detractors, he would not do it again. Yeah, he fucking did it again. Eventually, people turned on him and he kind of faded to the background until getting arrested for assault with a deadly weapon in LA on October 21st, 2021. Honestly, not the crime I thought he'd be arrested for. Anyway, if you want a more in-depth look at this entry, I'd recommend a video essay by Turkey Tom, but, you know, it's a little gross. Todd McFarlane doesn't go to the bathroom. Okay, so we need a bit of a palate cleanser after that previous entry, so here's a funny one. Todd McFarlane, most known for his run on Spider-Man as well as Spawn and Image Comics, does a lot of conventions like Comic-Con and the like, as you would expect. Now, working cons, you probably need to take a bathroom break every once in a while, especially if you're going to be there all day. Well, apparently, McFarlane has gone on record to say that he never uses the bathroom while working at cons. He said, quote, "If nothing goes in the top hole, nothing comes out of the bottom holes." Eh? Because he's Canadian. End quote. No, he didn't say the A. I threw that on there. This raises so many questions, but I'm just going to leave it at that. We're going to move on. Newgrounds. Newgrounds is arguably one of the most important websites in the digital era of art history. Created in July of 1995, this was one of the first websites on the internet to allow artists to upload their work. Most known for its flash games and animations, it also served as a social networking site where creators could communicate to collaborate on projects. Artists, animators, programmers, musicians, just general creators working together for the first time over the internet. Newgrounds is known for its unfiltered and uncensored style. You know, it's very edgy. It's kind of what it's associated with. Having said that, Newgrounds has found itself in many controversies over the years. This website could be an iceberg of its own considering how long it's been around, but one of its most well-known controversies are its many mass shooting games. Games like Super Columbine RPG and VTech Rampage. Yeah. These games caused a ton of controversy and were just people being super edgy, honestly. I should also note that the creator of VTech Rampage actually made a second game about school shootings and intended it to be more of a social commentary, which even included a short speech about gun violence, but that one was taken down. However, VTech Rampage, which was the edgelord shitpost, remained. Ironic. I'd recommend an episode of the Netlore podcast to get more insight into this, linked in the description. These days, Newgrounds is more known for its degenerate NSFW art. Like I mentioned prior, if you were a Tumblr NSFW artist refugee, this might have been a good venue for you to have migrated to. Also, there's a really popular game called Friday Night Funkin' that was big for a while, that gave the website a little boost, although that game itself has quite the interesting fandom, to say the least. Newgrounds is still running to this day, nearly 30 years later, which is a hell of a run. There are still people making content and sharing art over there, myself included, and I appreciate the unfiltered, uncensored approach. DeviantArt. DeviantArt is a site that does have its own iceberg. I'll link to a video by Dylan the Night Owl for that, but be warned, it's literally almost 10 hours long. Yeah, it's a big one. DeviantArt was a website founded in August of 2000, intended to be a place that artists could share work and act somewhat of a social network specifically for artists. There are many weird things about DeviantArt, but here are a few things of note. So, there's a genre called adoptables, where artists create characters, usually furries, and other users can more or less buy them, sometimes with DeviantArt's fake currency, coins or tokens or badges or whatever the hell they're calling them these days, or even real-world money. It's quite an interesting concept. Also, there's a ton of fetish artwork on DeviantArt. It's even somewhat known for it. People only know that inflation fetishes exist because of DeviantArt. Browse at your own risk. There's a lot of things I wish I could unsee. The phrase, OC don't steal, comes from this site, meaning original character don't steal, which is funny because these OCs are often based in a universe the creators of these OCs don't own the IP rights to, so. But yeah, that's where that comes from. The infamous "God, I wish that was me" screenshot comes from this site. I'll let you find out what that comment was on your own. Infamous webcomic Tales Gets Trolled, which I will inevitably review, hit subscribe, started out on this site. If you're unfamiliar with this comic, you are definitely familiar with the Tom and Jerry meme. It's from this. Sonic fans. Sonic fans are something else. Trust me, I know, I'm one of them, unfortunately. There is so much Sonic fan art on this site and so much NSFW Sonic fan art that this site is probably why Sonic fans are kind of looked down upon by the rest of the internet, more or less. Yeah, Sonic fans really are something else. Oh, there's also bases. I'll leave a link to a video by YouTuber Izizzy, once again, from New Zealand, in the description below for that one. And let's not forget about Country Humans, which will have its own entry later. Overall, DeviantArt is quite the bizarre website, although I think it's good if you want to browse artwork. Sites like ArtStation feel too hyper-homogenized with art styles, since on that site everyone's trying to find jobs in industry. With DeviantArt, there's a variety of styles just on the front page, and I appreciate that. While I'm a fan of the uncensored and unfiltered approach, I'm just glad there's an option to filter out mature content on this site. The Genshin Impact community. Genshin Impact is an extremely successful gacha weeb game, I'm not too familiar with the genre because anything that has live service or daily objectives or surprise mechanics attached to them is not a game but a full-time job, and I got better things to do with my time, but the game is super successful. However, having said that, the fandom around Genshin Impact is full of some of the most talented and creative artists I've seen. The fan arts alone are some of the best fan arts I've seen. I know I'm always dropping a like on drawings of that witch chick. Now, what this entry is actually referring to is just how absolutely unhinged some people in this fandom can get. Specifically when it comes to things like lewd artworks of fictional characters that don't even exist. I don't want to get too into this because one mind can only take so much brain rot, but I'm pretty sure this is where the term anti comes from. But first we define shipping. So, a ship is when someone does a fan work where two, or more I guess, fictional characters become a couple or whatever, non-canon fan stuff, whatever, right? The people that do this are called shippers, and anti, to quote Urban Dictionary directly, is someone who is anti-shipping towards specific pairs, often to the point of harassing and or threatening shippers. They usually claim to only hate ships with pedophilic, incestuous, abusive, or otherwise problematic elements. However, many of them will do incredible mental gymnastics to call any ship that rivals their OTP problematic. One-time password? Oh, one true pairing. Okay. That's what that means. So, The Genshin Impact fandom is full of these antis. Side note, if you want to draw some fan arts or ships of my comic Doomsayer that are not canon, feel free, I don't care. But make sure you send them to me, because I want to see your fan art. You can read the comic via my website, absolutely free, link in the description. Boom, plugs, done. Okay. Anyway, this has gotten so bad that I personally will sometimes refuse to engage with an artist that draws Genshin fan art, no matter how good it is. So, just to piss off the Genshin community, let's play a game where I guess the age and sexuality of random Genshin characters. Oh, there's that witch chick I was talking about before. I see like a million fan arts of her. Mona, I think her name is? Anyway. Alright, here's a compilation here. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna assume... I think this is a trap. You guys remember trap? That word's a slur now, apparently. I don't know. I guess we say femboy now. I'm gonna say 13 and gay. Alright, let's see. I think this character is 17 and heterosexual. This one, alright, this looks like the this looks like a daddy character that all the girls on Tumblr would like make fan arts of. He's got that vibe to him, you know. Little tsundere looking. I'm gonna say 25. Yeah, and heterosexual. Oh, there's a lolly. 500 years old. Actually, a dragon, right? Purple hair here. 15. I'm gonna say 15 and heterosexual. Alright, we got this one here. 22 and bi. Blue hair over here. I'm gonna go with 30. Yeah, 30. She's got that like MILF energy about her, you know? Let's see. And yeah, 30 and heterosexual. And this character, I'm gonna say 12. And I don't know, they look androgynous. Let's go with non-binary, I'm not sure. Alright, now is everybody from the Genshin community angry? Good. Zeefixesart and other racist art fixers. Okay, so this entry refers to controversial Twitter user Zeefixesart and her rampant racist shenanigans. What this person did was take random people's art and altered the characters depicted within to be fat, black, and sometimes hairy. Now, I don't give a shit if you want to draw fat, hairy, black characters, but altering someone else's work and claiming you fixed it without their permission is just scummy. Now, there's a theory that this person was just an elaborate troll, but I don't know. I mean, have you seen people lately? Like, have you been on Twitter these days? Like, people are fucking crazy. You know, they're not doing so good. Zeefixesart also decided to fix an artwork that someone had commissioned of themselves and blackwashed a real-life white person. Yeah, not cool, dude. Anyway, she's kind of disappeared since being called out by Muhammad Agbadi in one of his videos, which I will link in the description. There was also another infamous incident where an artist did human versions of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles from the Sonic the Hedgehog series, and some user took it upon themselves to make the humanized version of Knuckles black. Now, I understand that Knuckles is a character that is often referred to as black-coded, whatever that means, and he was even voiced by Idris Elba in the live-action adaptation, but this is still another case of someone taking another creator's work, altering it, and proclaiming they fixed it, completely unsolicited. It seems art fixers have kind of faded away with the advent of AI because now AI bros are fixing real-life people. Yeah, like this Fallout one right here. Listen, fixing someone's artwork is one thing, but fixing real-life people with AI? That's fucked up, bro. Y'all AI bros need to get on that nofap or something. Kooleen the Troll and her many controversies. Oh boy, this is a loaded one. Alright. So, Kooleen is a troll masquerading as an art YouTuber. Her claim to fame was a shitpost about drawing juicy lips. However, this would not be what she would become known for. Remember when I mentioned the art roasters that rose to prominence in the aftermath of Ethan Becker's rise on YouTube? Kooleen was one of them. While most people submitting to get roasted by Kooleen understand that she's making edgy joke haha funny, others find her very mean-spirited. Well, as an enjoyer of dark, edgy humor, myself, hey, my favorite YouTuber was Monkey Jones before he got his channel nuked. There's one thing about it. Dark jokes kind of have to land, because if they don't, you just look like an asshole. While I wouldn't consider Kooleen's brand of comedy as dark, it's certainly off-color, but just friendly enough to remain monetized. I mean, fair enough, It's a struggle out here. One thing that started some controversy was a joke she made about telling her most likely quite young audience to only draw attractive people. Now, on one hand, I agree that if you want mainstream appeal, conventional attractiveness is probably your best bet, but, drawing quote-unquote ugly people is fine too. I'm more or less of the mind, just let artists draw whatever the hell they want, unless they're Shadman, but some people were angry about this. One thing that some people noted about Kooleen's art is that she had a tendency to favor characters with light skin. There's the infamous Gorilla Jaw clip.
We're making this line is that we have to make sure that everything below the nose doesn't exceed this line. So the lips and the chin shouldn't exceed this line, no matter how juicy and big his lips are. Real, she looking kinda goofy, so let me give you some #valid criticism. As a general rule, just don't let the chin exceed the nose. Imagine that this is the skull, and this is where the eye should be, a bit closer to the side. It helps to draw a diagonal line like this to serve as a guide. And now I'm simply gonna liquefy, and then the eyebrows just copy paste, and there we go. Yassify before and after.
A lot of people are saying that because people of African descent have a tendency to sometimes have a similar bone structure, it was racist. There is also the edges incident. Before I show the clip, if you're unfamiliar, edges, sometimes referred to as baby hairs, are, quote, shorter hair situation at the hairline region at the perimeter of textured hair. It's a popular hairstyle amongst black and brown women. I'll put a few pictures on screen. You've probably seen this hairstyle before. Also, while doing research for this, just to get the definition right, I also found out some white women who do this call them sticky bangs, and I think that's so fucking funny. Here's what Kooleen said about a fan's drawing of a woman with edges.
What the heck is that? Why does she have 4 eyebrows? Bruh.
Yeah, not a good look. Anyway, she got cancelled, but Ethan Becker came in to save the day, and that was the end of that saga. Honestly, I think it was more ignorance than racism in my opinion, but only recently she did an oopsie. So for context, Jading Animations is a storytime animator vlogger. This genre video is basically a narrator telling a story with an animation or animatic for visuals. The odd ones out is probably the most popular creator in this genre, so Kooleen had the bright idea of yassifying their avatars. Which reminds me, I need to explain what yassifying means. Jesus fucking Christ, can't you damn kids speak English anymore? Is everything skibbity riz get L Ohio Kaisenet cooked? For fuck's sake, you sound like an R word. That R word. Not that R word, that R word. Anyway, directly from dictionary.com. Yassification is a noun from the verb yassify, which generally means to improve something, especially by making it more beautiful or glamorous. The word yassification often refers to a meme or online trend in which a person edits a picture of a person to look extremely feminine with a large amount of makeup. So that's what yassification is. Anyway, she grabbed these avatars and redesigned them. So she grabbed these avatars and did redesigns of them, except for Jading Animations, she based it more off of her real self. So before we go further, a bit of background on Jading. Jading suffers from a condition called body dysmorphia. A lot of people have it these days. If you're unfamiliar, more or less, it's a condition where no matter how much you physically change your body, your mental image sees yourself as worse than that. It's a horrible thing that a lot of people suffer with and should not be taken lightly. It was a huge thing for her when she did a face reveal video, and I think it's still her most popular video. I even saw it myself, and it was a good video. Back to Kooleen. So firstly, she called Jading a quote-unquote goth mommy. That was when our audience knew that she fucked up. So, as a goth mommy enjoyer myself, the regulars know, but if you're new here, yes, I love aggressive goth women, okay? Here's a pro tip. Never actually call them goth mommies. Look, we like to have fun here, when we talk about fictional characters that don't actually exist, but, real people are real. Most people don't like to be called names, even if it's something that one would consider of a positive attribute, right? Okay, so the fact that Kooleen called Jading this based off of what she looked like, considering her history, was very, tactless, to say the least. At the time of writing this, the whole Kooleen calls Jading Animations a Goth Mommy saga seems to be in its falling action stage, but give it time, I guarantee Kooleen fucks up again. I mean, she doesn't even need to be trolling like this anymore. She already got like 2 million subs. I don't get it. She doesn't have to make content like this anymore, but, you know, controversy gets clicks, I guess. Anyway, that was the last entry. Alright, and that concludes Tier 2 of the dark, weird, and controversial artist Iceberg. If you liked this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. The last video gave the channel a bit of a boost, so if you hear from that, thank you very much. Hopefully this one will too. If I got anything wrong, please correct me in the comments down below, and I will add a little segment to the front of the next entry correcting the previous tier if I did make mistakes. If you have any suggestions for a future viewer-submitted tier or bonus tier, please leave them below. I will pan the iceberg on screen now so you can see all the entries. And yeah, just thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you're all doing well out there, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Alright, have a good one.